Is the current status of your friendship today?
Well. Next question.
Did me and Portia celebrate me getting a peach? It was simply no.
Oh.
I said she sent me a text saying congratulations, but we did not go out. Did me and Portia celebrate me getting a peach? It was simply no.
When you came on the show and your plan to sabotage me and use the
My plan
fans.
to sabotage
I'm sorry, let me
me?
finish. Let me do. So for me to now see that you decided to form an alliance with the two girls,
Girl, I tried to include you in the alliance.
No, you did
yes,
not.
I did. Fighting with me
Because you're lying. Because you're lying.
And you don't think you've been lying too?
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the reunion part 2. And I feel like throughout this whole thing, all I heard was lies. People were getting caught up in lies. People were over here catching people in lies. People were tripping themselves over lies. We're going to talk about it, y'all. But like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the video.
Let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, want it, securing the bag.
Alright, so the episode starts where it left off with Angela and Phaedra. I think at this point, I'm to the point where Angela, I think you crafted this because...
Okay, so Angela, why were you certain that it was Phaedra that sent this man to the group?
Phaedra is wanted to secure her spot. I don't have to.
It doesn't make sense. Even when you try to, check Portia, like, at the end of the day, why are you trusting Phaedra when she's done all these things to you? And that's perfectly fine. But I think the same question could be asked to Candy. Candy, why would you forgive Portia for basically pushing this lie onto the show, but you won't forgive Phaedra for telling Portia? Like I always tell people all the time, I hold Portia into more accountability than Phaedra. Phaedra said some shit off camera, Kiki, whatever the fuck. Portia about to shit onto the show. To be honest, Phaedra should have stayed on the show and dealt with Candy. Portia should have left the show. I don't care about them fuck ass tears. Tears don't move me. Tears don't do shit. So I feel like in that regard, Portia should got the motherfucking boot. But Angela's basically telling her, like, you fall for all the stuff that she tell you.
About you is you are so eager to believe she's telling the truth when she allowed you to carry a lie on another cast member.
And she's over here lying. Phaedra's like, what am I lying about? I'm like, Phaedra, you were traded for a reason, but to each his own. Angela's like, well, how do you know that she, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, her brother knows the sister. I'm just like, Angela, that's not a receipt.
Lie. That he doesn't know Phaedra?
He doesn't know me.
But he knows your brother and he knows your sister.
Just because someone knows
But
my
he
brother
doesn't know
or sister?
anybody else.
Like, all the stuff you're saying is not a receipt. And at this point, you're starting to sound fucking crazy because you have no actual evidence besides Facebook. Girl, I could put something on Facebook right now. It would go stupid dumb.
And be a lie.
So you can't really go off of Facebook. You need to go off on factual evidence. What have you seen? Transactions that he could have gave you, the transaction, the money that she gave him. Like, you give us some hard code evidence. Oh, the private investigator saw them meeting da 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 da. That's what you should have did. But no. So Phaedra was like, you know what? I'm gonna call my brother. She called her brother. She's like, do you know Kim? Blah 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 blah. He was like, no.
I went to high school together.
I don't know her. It's okay. That's your brother. Just like you sent someone up to me to say, I'm who has the hands.
And then they're like, well, y'all Facebook friend. He was like, okay, we probably went to high school together, but I don't know this bitch. Like, I don't know her. So Angela, that proves nothing. But they start having a little read off because a viewer was like, oh, Angela, you look very old. Shady. And Angela was just like, first of all, I got my birth certificate. She brought her birth certificate. She was like, I was born in, what was it, 1981, I believe? Was it 81? 81. 81? 81. Okay. 81.
Angela, you are a gorgeous woman, but I don't believe you're 43. She was born in 1981.
But then they start going off, have a read off. I was like, hold on. Hold on now. And then she was just like, at the end of the day, bitch, if I over here looks 53, you look 63.
In the game looking kind of old too, so I'm like, I look 53, you look 63.
Okay.
So let's...
And then then this is where it got me, because she was like, girl, first of all, the people that are in the rooms that are in, the people don't know who you are. I'm just like, I know that's a lie. Everybody know who Phaedra Parks is, like, especially in Atlanta. That's why I was just like, Angela, you just saying shit just to win the argument. You ain't winning the argument. Phaedra's like, at the end of the day, I'm in the rooms where people win an Oscar. She was like, oh yeah, you had to, what she said, you had to break into the room. I don't know. This is just one gray area of Angela that I just didn't like. I did not like. It did not make sense at all. Now, do I think the reads were funny? Yes, but did it make sense? It did not make sense.
Want that man, honey.
Okay, well then why does no one in any other rooms know you, sweetheart?
I'm not in the rooms you're in. You're right. But the rooms I'm in, they don't know you.
With all that being said, Phaedra, I love you, but I can't let you do my girl like that, because she is in fact in the room.
Spinning all around. Bad bitch fall to the ground. Walking drunk and sober now. Don't use and I see how. Yeah, 2 degrees, make you want to freeze. Hit your ass up, take it back to believe. Yes, said believe, not ball lead. You really want to try to ball on me. 3 points like a courtyard.
And she did not make me think that Phaedra did this. Could Phaedra have done this? Yes. Did you prove Phaedra have done this? No, not at all. So Kelly brings up to Angela, like, you know, you bashed me on the after show because you said I was speaking ill on your marriage.
And I pray for you. I'm like, bitch, I never said that.
I never said that. And I just want you
Kelly,
to know.
you very well did.
I never compared your...
And I compared your marriage to mine, basically failing, and I never did. Girl, they did the flashback, and Kelly, unfortunately, sister, yes, you did. You was over here saying some things about her marriage, basically saying, like, you know,
I see how it's going, and I don't want you to go down the road that we're going down.
Basically saying that there's trouble in paradise and insinuating that something might happen in her marriage.
It resonated with Angela. But I just want to tell you that I've been you. I've been in your position.
So you actually did. And Kelly's just saying, well, if I did say that, I apologize. I just don't remember saying that. I mean, it happens, right? So they also get on the fact that Angela might be perimenopausal. You know, girl over here got a fan 24/7. And they're like, you know, it happens. You know, it can happen as early as 36. So she was just like, you know, I think that's what it is. You know, it's just what it is, what it is. Rest in peace to Angela's mother. You know, my condolences to her family. I haven't lost a parent, so I don't know what it feels like, but I have lost plenty of family members, so I can only imagine how this is like a devastating loss. I remember when I lost my Aunt Joy Sand, what, a year, almost 2 years now, it like crushed, because I knew her since I was a little kid, so I can imagine. So she just like, she feels like there's a void and a hole missing, because her mother wanted to use this platform to really, you know, showcase, you know, that she had bipolar disorder and she was living with it, and how she over here coped and, you know, live her life day to day. So she just feel like her mother missed out on the opportunity to do so. So yeah, rest in peace to Angela. So Messy Andy asked Angela, do you feel like Drew had your back the way you had her back? And Angela said, no, I don't.
I did not feel like Drew had my back. Even in the finale, Drew.
She was like, I went hard for Drew. And a lot of the girls said, like, you know, it felt like y'all had your own mini alliance as well. But yeah, you was riding hard for Drew down. And it feels like, you know, you always had Drew back. And, you know, Angela feels like Drew didn't really show up for her at the end. I feel like Drew did, but it comes to a point where it's like you have this guy saying that Phaedra did this, Phaedra did that. Mind you, if I was Drew and there's no evidence and no factual proof, girl, I'm just gonna sit there and mute. Like, what did you want Drew to say? Like, oh, Phaedra, girl, this is what you did. It was Phaedra. Like, she probably don't know just as much as you do.
We're building a genuine friendship. And if you felt like I didn't have your back, I apologize. You know, if I couldn't show up for you in the capacity in which I would love to.
You just going off of anything, right? So I just don't think that's kind of fair that, you know, you put that on to Drew. But when it comes to the 4th of July, that the Juneteenth party that Cynthia had, I felt like Drew definitely left her high and dry, and I would give her that.
Excuse the way not supporting Angela because of what you're going through, but when it came down to me and Portia's friendship, y'all picked it apart and talked about how lopsided it was.
So Shamia brings up, she was like, okay, you know, I don't want you to, you know, jump the gun and think I'm just you know, being Portia's mouthpiece. But why do you think it's okay for you to be excused for not defending Angela, but when I do it, I get chastised and berated? And then Drew just said,
Like, girl, hush.
I think that's a valid question. I think that is a valid question because at this point, Drew, I feel like Drew has definitely stood for Angela, but Drew had so much stuff going on. I felt like she couldn't really be all the way there for Angela. And almost every trip, Drew came late. Drew came late a lot of times. So I'm like, she was just maybe the Robin of the group, right?
Happened, and all the questions came.
Now you about to open up
yes,
the
I'll own my part.
What part you owning?
I want you to be quiet.
Andy then asked Phaedra, he was like, Phaedra, so why didn't you go to the Marion and Marison reunion? And she was just like, they didn't want me there. They didn't see my value. They didn't see my worth. So why would I go somewhere where I'm not wanted? And I mean, I get it. I feel like Phaedra always saw herself up here. They saw Phaedra up here and they tried to bring her down and they couldn't. Now, was Phaedra born or married to medicine? Yes. So to bring up Britt and basically her self-sabotaging on the Grenada trip, her over here, I feel like she wanted to try to have a Bravo, you know, Real Housewives moment. She wanted to like, well, you know, everybody was up against you, but now they're up against me. And then like Phaedra said in the van, like, girl, you're doing this on your own. Like, you need to over here make yourself friendly. And, you know, invite people over, you know, create those bonds, create those connections, like open yourself up to the women. But Britt never did that. And I feel like she wanted to always be like the outsider so she could say, woe is me, I'm the victim, which is why she don't have that many friends, which is why she's not close with her family,
Which is why she's not on this fuck ass show.
I feel like Britt self-sabotage. She is a self-saboteur, period. So they bring up the whole Shamia and Phaedra beef and why it took so long for them to, you know, reconcile. Phaedra basically says, I thought we reconciled before I even came onto the show, so I'm just kind of confused on why every interview I hear her bringing up something else. You know, the comments that were made from Portia about Shamia and from Phaedra about Shamia. And yeah, like Phaedra, you did say that old girl was over here fucking Candy and Todd.
That she sat back while Phaedra tried to make you look like community property.
People say she sleep with everybody else, but who's talking about that?
Having threesomes. And the thing about it is, like, did we see Portia say anything? We didn't. So I can't say Portia said anything. But if that was my friend, I don't give a fuck who it is. Bitch, don't let another bitch, especially we're best friends, don't ever let another bitch dog me out and you sit there and not say anything. That happened with me and my best friend. I was in the room and people were just like, oh yeah, you know, there's a girl that like Ariana Grande and you know, she was da 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 da. And I'm like, well, bitch, there's only one bitch that's a super fan of Ariana Grande, which is my best friend. So who you talk about? They were like, and I shut that shit down. I said, if y'all talk about my best friend, I already know this one thing for sure and two things for certain. Stop the conversation because it can go down right now. You bitches don't like to fight, but I do. Please don't ever disrespect my best friend. If you got something to say to him, call him here, pull him to the side and let him know how you feel. Don't ever say no shit disrespectful about my best friend in front of my presence. I'm not going for that. I would never go for that. It's like somebody talking shit about my sister in front of me. That don't make sense. Like, you know, I'm going to tell her one, and first of all, I don't have to even tell her, cause I would just tell, like, girl, I just slapped the shit out of your friend. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it would never happen. Now, if it's someone like that we known for like 10 years, that's like, you know, what's going on with this, you can give input, cool. But if me and my sister are going at it, bitch, don't jump in, because if you jump in, we're going to turn on you.
No.
Conversation. We talked for a while. I said I'm coming back. But bottom line, we've never had a conversation about the allegations that were put out there about me.
So they talk about the whole situation with Shamia and Portia. Finally, they come to a head. And a viewer asked the question, Phaedra has put you, Portia, into a tough situation with the whole entire group and your reputation. So where is that same grace with Shamia? So Portia gives this lackadaisical answer that I just feel like was some bullshit.
And after those years, there was a conversation. Then we got back to this place. That's not to say that can't happen with Shamia.
The thing with Shamia was saying, like, you know, I'm over it. I'm over all this stuff. I'm over it. And I'm happy that Angela clocked her. She was like, girl, but you're not over it. Because if you actually were over it, why would you bring it up at the Pampered by Portia?
Because, I mean, it is what it is. Like, when you
Angela, you're nodding. What?
She brought it up at Pampered by Portia. Yeah. She's still upset about it. Thank you, Cynthia.
But you're not over it. But I can see why she's not over it, because then Portia revealed, I didn't come to your wedding because we weren't in a good place. But Portia, you just said in this scene at the reunion, oh, you only had one wedding and I came to that wedding. But then why did you say at Pamper at Portia that you didn't come to her wedding because y'all weren't in a good place? Shit don't make fucking sense, right? Right. I feel like it's horrible that the dissolution of their friendship. However, I'm not about to sit up here and not say Shamea seems like a fucking liar.
You accept the apology and we can move forward, but you can't say but after you apologize. No, I'm saying I want the best for you.
And Portia, you are a fucking hater. Period. There's too many evidence on this season alone, that Portia, you was so disrespectful and rude to Shamea that any regular person probably wouldn't put up with you. So I can only imagine what you do behind closed doors. But Shamea, there were some things that you did that I feel like you lied out of spite to make Portia look bad. I think you did. If you could prove me wrong, prove me wrong. I might be wrong, but that's just how I feel. And what it was, Portia said, she said, why are you trying to fight with me? And Shamea said, why are you trying to fight with me? And Portia said, because you're lying. And then Shamea said,
okay, but you act like you haven't lied too.
Fighting with me because you're lying. Because you're lying. And you don't think you've been lying too? And you're wrong too.
Wait a damn minute.
that two-part major slip starts showing, because what does that mean? You haven't acted like you have lied too. Interesting. But Andy, like, girls, we're about to go on a break. Do your thing. It is what it is. So as they go on to the break, Shami is basically in the back talking about, I'm trying to talk, but they would not let me talk. I will be heard this reunion. Bitch, do you not know what a reunion is? This is not your first one. So I'm just like, you talking about, I need to talk. I have stuff to say. Girl, if you don't over here yell over Portia don't give not one fuck about talking. Girl, you better yell over her and say what you got to say. Talking about, I need my voice to be heard. Speak then. Say what you got to say. I just feel like she folds when it comes to Portia. For what reason, we don't know. So we get on Kenya and Britt. Kind of disappointed that Kenya didn't come.
Disappointed to not be a part of the RHOA 16 reunion taping today. Please know I take full accountability for my actions and deeply apologize to all those affected.
I feel like Kenya had the right to come after she was vindicated. Now, don't get me wrong. Did Kenya do what she did? Yes, she did what she did. But was Kenya vindicated? Absolutely. And Andy brought up, well, you know, there was an investigation, right, Portia? Portia's like, yeah.
Y'all just lied.
She said, what? And I saw, her fear, like, what the hell? Did she just say a gun or a pistol?
Yes. I know that there was an investigation surrounding the threat that Britt made relating to the gun.
So Andy just said that he know that there was an investigation done surrounding the threat that Britt made about the gun. My whole thing, like I said before, is how can y'all do an accurate investigation if y'all weren't there to check her in person? How would you know she didn't have a gun on her? Did you check her car that night? Did you check her pocketbook that night? Did you check her person that night? Did you check her husband that night? No. All you could do basically is go off of the footage and off of what she said. And what she said is what she said. And to be honest, at my job, if you say something like that, that's a fireable offense. You're gone. And if that would have happened, we wouldn't have the whole situation with Kenya. But to each his own.
Because at that night, on that mic, when she said, I got pistols and whips for you, right? Even Portia said, that's not okay. Like, I would be so fucking terrified. I see why she was in a state of panic, right? So if there was in front, mind you, Portia said that in the context she said it like she heard it that night too. So if that was the case, why then did Bravo come out and say Britt didn't threaten her with a gun? Britt didn't have a gun. She didn't do anything of the sort. But then they put in the episode, I got pistols and whips for bitches like you. I don't know, but I feel Kenya probably escalated to production like, this is not okay, and I feel like I might be in danger. I don't know I don't even know this bitch, and she has an issue with me off of what we don't even know. She seems unstable, manic, maybe psychotic. We don't know. So at that point, she's over here just trying to figure out, you know, what's her best routes, right? Like Portia said, you gave a person that is known to do the most time to think and plot about doing the most.
And if she has ever retaliated before, she's going to retaliate, right? And so I knew she had gotten information from a castmate from the show.
And they bring up, she was like, you know, one of the housewives gave her information, and, you know, that's how everything snowballed to her event. And she was like, I never would have thought Kenya would do that at her event. Mind you, we would never thought either, but to each his own. So Shamia was like, well, who gave her? You said a housewife gave her information. Who gave her the information? And Portia's like, Drew did. Everybody's like,
Who? Well, so she said that Drew sent her some information.
Oh.
Drew, did you send her the pictures?
I never heard that I was the one.
Drew was like,
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Drew, no, it's not. Because I heard about 6 months ago that you gave her the information. So how's this the first time you're hearing it? But fuck it. She's like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. Like, I never would have get the information. That is such a lie. But then Portia's still talking like Drew gave her the information. She's like, you know, I just think it's just like to do that, and it's just so low down and nasty. Like, why would someone do that? Blah, blah, blah.
A private investigator.
So when I said that on my YouTube, I was talking about the situation, and I said that there was a current housewife that gave her information.
I'm just like, Portia, please. You can't talk about anyone being low down and nasty when you literally brought on a rumor. Mind you, a rumor that Candy and Todd was trying to end you. And the thing about it is, the reason why I don't blame Phaedra as much as Portia is because this season, Portia did the exact fucking thing.
Who did all this research? Who did it? Besides the housewife that gave you the footage, who else did all this? Oh my God. But it was a lot.
You then went under Kenya's post and say, oh, you're posting underage photos of Brit. The implications of that is now Kenya is sharing CP, which is illegal, which could send her to jail. Do I think Portia know that for a fact? Hell the fuck no. The girl don't even know what the fucking Underground Railroad is. Like, come on now. So do I think she know what that is? No. The girl don't even know how many days in the year it is. So I know she don't know what that is. So I'm just like, at the end of the day, if I was Kenya, and I get why Kenya didn't do it, but if I was Kenya, that is defamation of character. Because you don't know for a fact that you put that on a public platform, you said it on your YouTube, plus you said it in the comments. Portia does some evil, dangerous. Portia does some dangerous shit. Portia's not the type of bitch I would ever want to over here kick it with, because I feel like if she turned on you, she would say some crazy shit that would tarnish your reputation forever. Because all it takes is a couple people just to believe it, and now it's out there. Like, that would piss me off so much.
So the tensions between you and Britt really came to a head in Grenada over the donation.
All right, so Andy brings up the whole Britt and Shamia in Grenada, and Shamia felt like Britt crossed the line with bringing up her daughter.
You know, just infidelity rumors. A fractured friendship with Portia. I don't play about my kids.
Britt, I feel like she felt attacked, and she felt like Kelly was coming after her and Shamia was coming after her, which they were. However, I think the biggest thing is that Britt, you bit off more you can chew, right? You didn't live the lifestyle that you live. And my whole thing is like, take this from Real Housewives of Potomac. You don't have to be uber wealthy to be a great housewife. Potomac, half of them, I make their salary. Their lifestyle, I live their lifestyle, which is crazy. So that's why I'm just like, Britt could have actually, I feel like Britt was not authentic. I feel like Britt was not actually who she was. And then I felt when Britt felt like she was back into the corner, she felt like, well, I gotta be a housewife, so now I gotta get you. She just went low. The whole Kelly thing, the whole abortion things, low. Then bringing up Shamia's daughter. Mind you, she didn't bring up Shamia's daughter. She didn't talk about Shamia's daughter. She referenced Shamia's parenting, basically saying that, oh, you over here did all this shit, cry boo-hoo, and you over here went to Miami without your daughter. You didn't go see your daughter. Basically saying all that stuff you did was fake.
Wish that I were fabricating and creating a story. I'm so blessed to have my daughter today. So to hear somebody say something like that really pissed me off.
Okay, now that part, I was like, okay, I see why Shimi is upset, because you're trying to question the validity of what her daughter has been going through. And Shimi is like, you know, talk about me all you want, but talk about my children, it's a no-go zone. Like, you don't do stuff like that. And Britt would never know, as Portia would say, Britt would never know the conviction of being a mother until she become one. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, with Britt, like, girl, Britt did some nasty things this season. And a lot of people go up for her like, oh, she was the villain we needed. Was she though? Bringing a box of 3 toilet tissue, 2 rolls of paper towels, bubble bath detergent. Like, girl, you should have just sent a donation. Shamia, they run into a head and they clash. Portia feel like Shamia is lying, and Shamia basically had a strategy and a plan to take her down this season.
What is the current status of your friendship today?
She said she used the fans and stuff that the fans knew to take her down. I think Portia's using this as a way to excuse accountability and excuse herself. Like, you use these people to take me down and to tarnish my name. Portia, to be honest, you're already doing that on your own, baby. You don't need no other help. You're doing that on your own. Like Drew said, Portia, your return was a flop. You couldn't film into your house. You were late everywhere. You didn't really, you were so caught up with that fake marriage that you were in that it just seemed like you really wasn't all the way here like I really wanted you to be. Now this reunion, girl, you clocked in. I'm not mad. But I just feel like the way that her and Shimi just going back and forth, and Shimi's like, well, she gonna let me talk. She's talking over me.
Recent interviews. You went on Candy's show and said that I did not congratulate you. She finally had to say, well, did she call you? And you said,
they're out here calling out the lies and calling this, that, and the third. I'm just like, this is a lot going on. However, it was when, like I said before, I said this about 5 times this season, when Portia's mom referenced Shamia as a dog, I knew right then and there. I said their relationship is not going to last, because if your mother calls me a dog, what the fuck is that? And I grew up with this big bitch. Are you crazy? I'd be pissed. So Portia, Andy asked a question to Portia and Shamia. So look at Andy asked a question to Portia and Shamia. What's the status of your friendship? And at the point, there's no communication, there's nothing, right? Just because there's no communication doesn't mean that they can't be friends, right? You could not talk to someone for months on end and y'all see each other like it ain't nothing happened, right? But this situation, they're not friends. Portia don't follow her, Shamia does follow her. It is what it is. Portia feels like Shamia came onto the show and did a smear campaign on her name. Portia did clock some lies that Shamia said, because Shamia said that she was like, you said you went to Breakfast Club and said that you only had 1 wedding. She was like, I did. I was like, that's a lie, because we know that you said that you had 2 weddings.
the Breakfast Club and said that you only had 1 wedding.
I did only have 1 wedding.
Which that is also a lie.
Okay.
And when
You had 1 here in the States and 1 over in Africa. That's 2 to me, but whatever. And then it was the congratulations. I remember seeing Portia congratulate Shamia. So I mean that, you know, Shamia was just like, yeah, she congratulated me, but she didn't take me out for dinner. I'm like, okay, but that's not, you said she didn't congratulate you at all.
like I said, said, you knew the fans knew I didn't come. So they would already been saying, oh, she's not a good friend, she didn't come to the wedding. That was how many years ago?
So which one is it? So now it's just like the validity of Shamia's story don't make sense, because now you're saying one thing and you're completely changing your whole entire story. And we already know ditzy ass Portia, if she can clock you 9 times out of 10, she's probably right. Portia bring up the same thing about, like, why would I join Alliance? I didn't know anything about Alliance. And then Shamia's just like, no, you didn't know about Alliance. I never said Alliance. But I'm just like, girl, like, so was Portia telling the truth? Well, get the fuck out of me. It's just one of those things where, you know, Portia was like, you strategically came onto the show to, you know, do a smear campaign on me. I'm just like, whoa.
You came on the show, and your plan to sabotage me and use the fans. I'm sorry, let me finish.
Like, from the beginning, like, you felt like she was over here coming on just to take you down. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But it all comes to a head because of now mothers got involved. Because something happened with their mothers. And once you bring up my mother, bitch, I don't give a fuck what happened. We're done. Yeah. Portia and Shamia's mothers fell out, and that really started the snowball of whatever happened in their friendship, really, to me. Portia mother called Shamia a dog, and then Shamia's mother retaliated and responded. I remember on that. If I can find the video, I'll put it in there. But she responded basically saying, like, girl, like, don't talk about my daughter like that. I was highly upset. You know, she kept it cute. But I'm interested to see how this is going to work out in season 17.
Why are you making about my mom?
What did she do?
Never.
What happened?
I heard that all the girls are coming back to season 17 from Scotty by Nature. There's 3 girls testing, so we'll see what happens. But it's getting spooky down in Atlanta, and the girls are lying. Yeah. But y'all, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Brian Keith, LG, Black Butte. Bet you didn't know we the Holy Trinity. Now let a God stop a y'all and break your head here. Step into the room and get up in the bed. It tastes sweet, that's cause I'm good. It tastes sour cause I'm better than the hood. Cause I get you hyper when I'm running all around, cause I excite ya. Let me talk real quick. You can't even get with the shit. You wanna go toe to toe with my flow? This American all I really asking for. Now I got to go. Got. Bye bye.